There's a certain irony. Side by side on the Atlantic seafloor at the moment, we have two vessels, Titanic and Titan.
In the aftermath of this week's tragedy, oceanographer Simon Boxall says the catastrophic implosion of the Titan submersible could usher in new safety standards for underwater vessels. Just as the sinking of the Titanic in 1912 triggered an overhaul of maritime regulations.
Simple things like use of radios, standard protocol with radios, use of flares, life jackets, having enough lifeboats on board to cover both sides of the boat. And they all came about because of the disaster of the Titanic.
But new rules, he says, could prove difficult to roll out due to the fragmented nature of how the ocean is governed. Special prayers in Pakistan Friday and words of condolence for the Pakistani-born father and his 19-year-old son who died when the Titan sub they were traveling in imploded during a deep dive to the Titanic wreck. 2 other passengers, along with the vessel's pilot, Stockton Rush, who was also the sub company OceanGate's CEO, were also killed. The 4 wealthy tourists paid $250,000 each for the trip. Debris from the sub, which had been missing in the North Atlantic since Sunday, was detected on Thursday by a robotic diving vehicle deployed from a Canadian ship as part of an international rescue effort.
So OceanGate shouldn't have been doing what it was doing. I think that's pretty clear.
James Cameron, the Canadian movie director behind the blockbuster Titanic, who's also a submersible maker and deep-sea explorer, says he had sounded the alarm earlier about Titan over its risky composite carbon fiber and titanium hull.
I wish I'd spoken up, but I assumed somebody was smarter than me. And we knew that if the sub passed its pressure test, it wasn't going to fail on the first dive. It might fail on dive 7, or I don't know what they're at, but it's going to fail over time, which is insidious. You don't get that with steel or with titanium.
At least when I was there, we always were very transparent with anyone who's going to join us on expeditions about the risks involved.
While serious concerns about the sub have been raised for years, OceanGate co-founder Guillermo Sonline is defending the company's chief executive officer's commitment to safety.
Stockton was one of the most astute risk managers I'd ever met. He was very risk averse. He was very keenly aware of the risks of operating in a deep ocean environment.
And look, we celebrate innovation, right? But you shouldn't be using an experimental vehicle for paying passengers that aren't themselves deep ocean engineers.
With the probe into the disaster still in the early phase, families of the passengers who perished released statements overnight, thanking the international search effort. Melissa Duggan, City News.